What's up, guys? Welcome to the Wild Card. My name is Ty, and today we're gonna be reacting to Black Lives Matter bankruptcy. About a week or so ago, Black Lives Matter filed for bankruptcy, and pretty much ran through the $90 million that they collected in donations during the riots and the 2020 election. Patrisse Cullors, one of the founders, she ended up stepping down like 6 months after the fact, pretty much after Joe Biden was inaugurated, or pretty much after they got the $90 million. But look, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna analyze this video as I go through. I'm gonna just play some clips. I'm gonna analyze it as I go through, and we'll talk about it.
That the criticism is helpful. I also think that it might. I think of a lot of things. The first thing I think is that we actually do have an ideological frame. Myself and Alicia in particular are trained organizers. We are trained Marxists. We are super versed on sort of ideological.
You know, that's pretty much it, man. You heard her herself. She's a trained Marxist. Excuse me. She basically went. I remember when she actually was saying it in real time. This was in 2020. She go on national television and pretty much in an interview and just basically said it. You heard it for yourself. She's a trained Marxist. And Black Lives Matter, you got Black Lives Matter the movement, and you also got Black Lives Matter the organization. The organization is basically a racist organization. She's a lesbian, LGBTQ community, pretty much liberal. You know, she is pretty much whacked out of her fucking minds, along with her co-founders, Alicia Garza and Opal Tomei, whatever her name is. But they ended up raising like $90 million and pretty much spent all of it. I think they lost like 30% of it in investments or stocks or whatever they was investing in. They ended up losing like close to 30 million, I think, to be honest with you. Patrisse Cullors herself, she ended up purchasing a few homes. She purchased one in Malibu, California, $1.4 million. She purchased another one in Inglewood, California, that was worth $510,000. And she purchased another one in Conyers, Georgia, that was worth $415,000. You know, shortly after she purchased those three homes, you know, from a nonprofit organization, supposedly for Black Lives Matter, you know, she was dropped from the Warner Bros. Deal that she was supposed to be ahead. I think she was like a book deal or something like that. She also spent a lot of that money on security. I think her brother, Paul Cullors, collected like $1.6 million in security for that money. You know, so I think that they was basically spending that money around their family. They was pretty much enjoying that money for themselves. But in the reality of the situation, she was ended up, I think she was just taking money from people that she didn't understand, more than likely election interference at that time for Donald Trump and Joe Biden's election. She was part of that. So she gonna be using a lot of that money to stay out of jail. I kind of saw that, and I knew what was going to happen to her in real time. I wasn't one of the people that was actually behind Black Lives Matter. Not that I don't support the Black Lives, but I just didn't support the organization. And for, a lot of people that don't know what Marxist is, but follow Karl Marx. This is a racist guy. They got their own ideology on the way they see the world. Like I said, she's liberal. She's not conservative. They basically is for government. From my thing is they kind of like voted for their own demise, and pretty much the society that we're living in now. This country is basically in an economic collapse, and it's a lot of BS that's going on up out here, like the crime rate rising, defunding the police. They was part of that organization. They was part of pretty much everything that was going on in 2020. I know a lot of people ain't gonna never forget those riots, but they supposedly collected money for the donations to, better black people. And so much they gave to themselves instead of giving back, and I don't understand how you lose $90 million. But for them, it was mismanagement. They paying taxes. They gonna be using a lot of that to stay out of jail. They won't be enjoying it. But here go another video, man, and this guy pretty much go break down the expenses on how they lost the money and mismanagement and everything. So let's get to that.
I don't know who's getting offended by colonials, but clearly there was at least one human, and so let's change everything. Black Lives Matter's national organization at risk of going bankrupt after its finances plunged millions into the red last year. Columnist and author Adam Coleman joins me now. Adam, great to have you here on set. Before we break down the numbers, just how shady are the finances of BLM?
Just as shady as Joe Biden's son in Burisma. I mean, that's looking at the whole situation reminds me of that. They have a PAC. They're transferring money from one account, from one organization to another. Basically, it looks like they're funneling money to either their family members to possibly get it themselves, but the entire situation looks incredibly shady.
And you have broken down the numbers to the penny. We're going to do a little bit more broad strokes here, but let's take a look. Total revenue, basically $8.5 million. Total expenses, $17 million. That is not good when you do the math, and let's do that math, and you can see the total deficit that they're running is about $8.5 million. And on top of that, they had investment losses of about $10 million as well. So how did it get this bad? If for years, Adam, they've been on the receiving end of all this white guilt money, all of this corporate money, and in the year after George Floyd, they received $90 million. How did it get this bad in the red?
Just like any other organization where it gets this bad, they never had a plan. I think truly Black Lives Matter had no concept of having this much influx of money coming into them. If you look at their previous tax year before 2020, they had $0. So they went from 0 to 90 million. And for most people, if you win the lottery, a lot of people don't know how to handle that. So just using the best case scenario that they're not trying to be sleazy, but that they just completely mismanage it. So none of this surprises me.
I mean, just put the investment money in an index fund. You're not going to lose $10 million. I mean, you may not have crushed it like you're going into a VC or private equity, but you're not going to lose $10 million. To your point, though, are they giving this money to family members to sort of funnel it to them and sort of be like, hey, we're hiring them as employees? One example, apparently, of that is Patrisse Cullors' brother. And let's pop that up on the screen. Paul Cullors' financial records. $1.6 million given to his security company, and then he received a yearly salary of $126,000 as head of security. Maybe it's me, but Adam, that seems like a lot of security to me.
Yes, that's a lot of security. I mean, she always says that she's under a lot of danger, and I guess security to her is extremely valuable to pay this much money. I mean, this is the shady part that we're talking about. I think the rest of it, like, what did they actually do with the money? They gave it to leftist organizations that had nothing really to do with Black people, to benefit Black people, more so to benefit the LGBT community, which maybe there's a small sliver of Black people who are affected by it, but there's no checks and balances to it. It just seemed haphazard. They have really no idea what they're doing, and it shows. So that's why it looks like.
That is the overall point. What did Black America get from this? Like, what did they receive in terms of benefit?
Even their smaller organizations receive nothing from it. Their local Black Lives Matter chapters, right, they always complain about where are the resources, how do we manage this, and basically no one benefit from it except for the people at the very top.
For me, the most telling thing was when Breonna Taylor's family came out and said, we've gotten absolutely nothing. And that was a case that BLM used to fundraise, and those individuals got nothing. Adam, this is a really fascinating insight into the grift that is known as BLM. Looks like it could be coming to an end. We appreciate your time and insight.
I'm Steve Deuce.
But yeah, man, that's the story that you got. Like I said, man, they spent a lot of that money. That money was going toward them. You heard it yourself. He broke down the expenses on pretty much everything that they did. It was supposed to have been, like I said, you got Black Lives Matter, the movement, you got the organization. The organization is a racist organization ran by a bunch of dykes. So my thing is that, And as far as like the election and everything, people get what they vote for. If you gave your money to Black Lives Matter, if you donated toward them, you know, I pretty much don't feel sorry for you. I don't feel nothing for you, because now you get it. You see where your money went to. You see what happened to them. And I pretty much saw the downfall of them, you know, in the beginning. We 3 years in and they got nothing to show for it at the end of the day. Last I checked, I think their house was being repoed or whatever. But like I said, man, I hope you guys like the video, man. I hope you like the content. I'm a part-time content creator, but just subscribe to my page. I'm on Lil Ty, YouTube.com. Subscribe to me on Rumble, HollywoodTy.com, and also follow me on Twitter, Instagram. That's my social media platform. But like I said, man, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment, and God bless you guys up out there, man. Peace.